Talk about worst job in the world. It has to be this. It's this compost. Putting our compost, all our bits of fruit and vegetable, and putting it in here, the big compost bin outdoors. Oh, it is horrible. I mean, it's so smelly and yuck. And if you have a little look at some of the stuff in here, oh man, it's gross. Talk about this. An apple core that's gone brown. Oh, it was all right when I ate it, but not now. And this, a bit of grapefruit peel. I mean, this was bad enough when it was fresh, but then it becomes like droopy and black and gross. And then sometimes you dig around at the bottom of the fridge, you find all sorts of stuff like oranges that you forgot were there. Not orange anymore. It's like a greeny, bluey colour. Oh, this is just so horrible. And the other thing is, this bin is guarded by a vicious, vicious beast. If you don't like spiders, turn away now. Because Harry Huntsman's lived here. Okay, sure, we got rid of Harry a couple of years ago. One thing I know about Huntsman spiders, they hang out in pairs. So Heather Huntsman's still there, his friend, and she is angry.
Worst job in the world? It has to be this one. Killing the germs around our toilet means I've got to get in close. And it's even worse if someone has just used it. They're dirty and they're smelly, and toilets are a whole lot of yuck. You know, there's a reason that they're stuck in a little room all by themselves and put in the back corner of your house. These are not places that you want to hang out. Have you ever tried using one of these? I hate this job. Someone ought to train our kids to clean the toilets. Oh, I should train our kids to clean the toilet.
Well, back in the old days, the worst job in the world probably looked a little bit different. It was probably, in Bible times, cleaning people's feet, because they mostly wore sandals or didn't have any shoes at all, and their roads were being used by animals all the time, and so their feet probably got covered in poop. Talk about stinky. And you can't go in the house with poop feet. That is a rule for now. So you needed somebody to clean them off, and that job would have gone to the lowest of low servants, the lowest person you could possibly find.
But one day Jesus did it. It's true. You can read about it in John chapter 13, right there at the Last Supper. Imagine that. Jesus washed the feet of his disciples. Jesus, the most important person in the room, the most important person ever. And he was doing the washing and the cleaning of those poopy toes. Ugh. You see, Jesus was no ordinary king. He was also a servant, and he put the needs of his people before anything else. He washed the disciples' feet to show us how to love one another. He really is better than other kings.
We've been looking at the Book of Esther in the Old Testament. That story has a king in it as well. It has a bully king named Xerxes or Xerxes or whatever his name was. And he was a really bad king, and he'd get rid of people for no reason, just a wave of his hand. He'd get rid of people who didn't do what he told them to do. He got rid of his wife for no reason, and he was even prepared to get rid of the whole nation of God's people without even thinking twice about it. Well, our king is better. King Jesus washed the feet of his friends. He did that to show his love for them, but also he did it to teach us to love and serve one another. And then he cleaned up another stinking mess. This is way worse than poop feet. He cleaned up the mess of sin.
Jesus died on the cross the very next day, and he did it all for us. This really was the worst job in the world, because he was dealing with our stinky sin. All the stuff that stops us from being friends with God. Talk about a servant king. He loves us so much that he was willing to die to pay the punishment for our sin. Yep, King Jesus is way better than any other king, especially that bully Xerxes. He's the servant king who does whatever he can for his people. including the worst job in the world.